Tonight on SLU News 22.
Several more robberies and attempted robberies have been reported across campus.
Winter break is approaching. That means it's finals time.
A check of the national and international news.
Plus David's 7-day forecast and Billiken Sports.
You're watching SLU News 22.
Good evening, I'm Evita Caldwell.
And I'm Willy McKenna. Thank you for joining us.
Well, the end of the semester has finally approached.
And that means students will be prepping for final exams. The Bush Student Center will be open 24 hours along with Pius Memorial Library starting Tuesday, December 7th. For anyone who would like to utilize the facility for studying, the BSC will remain open 24 hours until December 14th. During break, the BSC will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with the exception of December 24th through January 2nd when it will be closed.
Students are encouraged to be alert after 2 recent burglaries occurred at the Village Apartments on campus. The first burglary was reported on the morning of November 19th. A student living in Anderson Hall of the Village Apartments stated that he observed an unknown person in his apartment after the person entered through the apartment's unlocked door. After being confronted with the student, the intruder stated that he was looking for someone and then immediately left the apartment.
And just a week and a half later, another student residing at Gunn Hall of the Village Apartments reported that his apartment had been burglarized. The student reported that the burglar took a Nintendo Wii game system and 6 video games. There was no sign of forced entry, and it is unknown how the intruder gained entry into the apartment.
And there was yet another recent attempted burglary at the Donnelly Hall of the Village Apartments on December 5th. 2 SLU students reported that they heard sounds of someone trying to open their locked apartment door. One of the students opened the door, assuming it was another roommate. Instead, it was an unknown male who stated, "Oh, I'm tripping. I live in the exact same spot on the other side of the arch." The student then closed the locked door. In all cases, SLU's Department of Public Safety urges all campus residents to keep their doors locked at all times, even when occupying the residence. And as always, be aware of your surroundings, reporting any suspicious activity when noticed. David's here with the first look at the forecast. Temperatures were freezing this week, David. Is there any relief in sight? They were freezing this weekend as well.
You know, there's really not a whole lot of relief in sight, but maybe these cooler temperatures will kind of keep those people from trying to rob more people on campus. I mean, some pretty crazy stories coming out there.
Maybe it was the cold.
Yeah, it's definitely been very cold, and it is still very cold outside. In fact, we're sitting at 24 degrees here on SLU's campus with a northwest wind around 8 miles an hour, gusting at times up to around 20 miles an hour. And that's giving us a wind chill of 17. So if you're headed out at some point tonight, you're definitely going to want to bundle up because it is very cold out there. In the mid to lower 20s across the majority of the bi-state right now. A little bit warmer. They got up to about freezing down to our south this afternoon. But tonight, we should see the skies clear out and temperatures are going to drop. A low around 15 degrees tonight. And with those breezy conditions, we'll see wind chills between 5 and 10 degrees when we wake up tomorrow morning.
Wow.
So definitely a very chilly night and more chilly weather in the forecast. Plus, we might be looking at our first chance of snow.
Oh,
so I'll tell you about that in our 7-day forecast coming up later.
Definitely have those winter coats ready for
Yeah.
walking to classes and everything.
Yes, definitely for tomorrow.
Well, the Department of Fine and Performing Arts Music is presenting the University Jazz Ensemble in its fall concert tonight at 7:30 p.m., Monday, December 6th, in the University Theater located in Xavier Hall. The concert will feature a big band, combo, and saxophone quartet performing a variety of jazz standards, including works by Sammy Nestico, Herbie Hancock, John Coltrane, and Jerome Kern. The event is free and open to the public.
Students for Life have begun registration for their annual road trip to the March for Life in Washington, D.C. The trip will depart on the afternoon of Friday, January 21st, and will return early Tuesday, January 25th. See the Students for Life website for more information and registration forms. Registration closes Friday, December 10th.
Members of the St. Louis Florist Network will deck the halls of St. Louis. Only Richmond's Palacean mansion with floral works of art that feature the crimson evergreens and winter whites of the holiday season. The event begins with the lighting of the couple's house Christmas tree on Thursday, December 9th at 5:30 p.m., featuring Tom Sudholt, formerly of the classic 99 radio. In the spirit of giving, visitors are encouraged to bring a warm item of clothing that will be donated to St. Francis Xavier Parish Help Center.
After the break, we'll be taking a look at national and international news. We'll be right back. Welcome back. In national news, last Friday, December 3rd, President Obama made a surprise visit to Afghanistan just days before he was to receive a comprehensive assessment of the U.S. war effort there. During his trip, he paid a visit to U.S. troops, praising them for their service. While there, he also spoke with Afghan President Hamid Karzai by phone and awarded 5 Purple Hearts to wounded soldiers at the U.S. Afghan base hospital.
Recently, a rumored fight against child abuse Facebook campaign asked users to change their profile picture to their favorite childhood cartoon to help support the fight against child abuse. Well, those rumors proved to be just that, a rumor. After becoming affiliated with the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, the viral trend was rejected as having no affiliation with the organization. No one has yet to come forward to claim the new campaign, and it is now rumored that it is an attempt for pedophiles to connect with whom they hope are children, although those rumors have not been confirmed.
The Federal Communications Commission outlined proposals intended to preserve the Internet's freedom this week. The idea is known as net neutrality, and it has been gathering criticism since its debut. Many claim that the implementation of these rules would in actuality lead to the opposite effect, with companies paying for faster service from broadband companies, as well as companies picking up and choosing what users are able to see. The commission is scheduled to vote on the proposal on December 21st.
Easter Island experienced a violent riot the past Friday. About 24 people were hurt during a riot sparked when protesters hurled rocks at police attempting to evict native islanders from property claimed by government officials. The islanders refused to identify themselves with Chile, who annexed the island in 1888, and instead call themselves the Rapa Nui, the traditional name of the island. Recently, tourism and migration have increased Chile's pressure to control the available land on the small island. In response, the Rapa Nui have been attempting to oust the new governmental occupants from territories they claim were illegally taken from their ancestors. About a dozen buildings are currently being occupied by the Rapa Nui people, who say Chile illegally took their families' ancestral homes on the tiny Easter island, where a total population of fewer than 5,000 people include about 2,200 Rapa Nuis. According to the Chilean government, the eviction will continue.
The recent presidential election in the Ivory Coast is ending in dispute. The election between incumbent Laurent Gbagbo and the opposition leader Alassane Ouattara was the first election since the Civil War in 2002 and 2003. The election was previously delayed multiple times. Originally, results came in saying that Ouattara had won the election, but on Friday, Gbagbo's allies appeared on state television to overturn the results. It is believed that about 500,000 ballots from Ouattara strongholds were disposed up, giving Gbagbo the lead with more than 51% of the vote. Despite rioting by angry youths and the pressure of foreign leaders, including President Obama, the Constitutional Council declared Gbagbo a victor as he was sworn in on Saturday. The Independent Electoral Commission from the UN declared Ouattara the victor. Directly following this announcement, the country went into lockdown. The country's air and land borders were closed, and foreign television and radio has been banned.
According to White House aides, the White House and congressional Republicans are near a deal on sweeping tax legislation, including an extension of the Bush-era tax rates for all income levels. In addition to a 2-year extension of the income tax rates enacted under President George W. Bush, the deal includes a 1-year extension of jobless aid for the long-term unemployed officials. Officials said negotiators were also close to an agreement to restore the federal estate tax, which lapsed at the start of this year, with an exemption of up to $5 million per individual and a maximum rate of 35%.
A list of companies and installations around the world regarded as critical to U.S. security has been published on WikiLeaks. The list includes ports, factories, and drug manufacturers, including a Danish insulin plant. The publication was denounced as irresponsible by U.S. Assistant Secretary of State Philip Crowley. Fears that the list could be a target for terrorists are amid. An arrangement is being negotiated for WikiLeaks' founder, Julian Assange, and his attorney to meet with British police. It is not known whether he will be arrested during that time.
The past weekend at the box office, Tangled upset Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1's leading status with earnings of $21.5 million. Harry Potter held second with $16.7 million. Third was a tie between Burlesque and Love and Other Drugs with $6.1 million.
It was certainly a good weekend to go to the movies, as we had frigid conditions throughout the weekend with very cold temperatures, but they will continue over the next couple days. But we'll see some sunny and dry conditions with some late week warmth, and we're watching a possible weekend winter storm. We'll tell you about that right after the break.
And welcome back. Our wonderful Chief Meteorologist David Keller is with us now. David, I don't think I can get used to this cold.
Well, I don't know. You're going to have to, I think, because it's definitely going to stay cold for at least another 24 hours as we head through the overnight and into tomorrow, because of very frigid temperatures we saw today, which included a high temperature of 29 degrees here at SLU. Well, we're going to see more weather like that as we go through the next 24 hours. In fact, we've seen temperatures at or below freezing for the last 40 hours, or 44 hours actually. So we've been below freezing for a pretty good stretch here, and it looks like it's going to continue. So we saw a high of 32 at Lambert this afternoon. That is pretty far below that normal high of 45. We'll be getting close back to normal as we head through the rest of the week, but we got to get through some pretty frigid weather first, as a pretty strong low pressure system off to the east of the Great Lakes is continuing to send us a northerly flow that included a few clouds as we headed through the afternoon hours, but mostly clear skies. However, it is producing quite a bit of lake effect snow up in the Michigan area. I saw several reports of 14, 15, even 16 inches of snow over the last 24 hours. So some pretty snowy conditions going up there around the Great Lakes as that low pressure continues to spin some very frigid temperatures across the lake. You can see it was still in the teens this afternoon across northern Illinois and into Iowa, where they have snow on the ground from a winter storm this past weekend. We were in the 20s, while off to our south and west, temperatures were beginning to warm up into the upper 30s and even 40s. And some of that air will try to work in our direction as we head through later this week. But for tomorrow, we still have these northerly winds, which means that Arctic chill is going to hang on very tightly, with highs once again in the middle to upper 20s in the area. However, that cold air is going to begin to shift off to the north and east, which means we will see a little bit warmer temperatures as a low pressure system begins to develop over the northern plains, and that is something we have to watch for this weekend, as it could bring a mix of rain and snow and possibly some heavy snow to the bi-state region by the time we get to Sunday. No word on amounts on that just yet. We'll have to get back to you later. For tomorrow, when you wake up, 18 degrees, very chilly. A wind chill around 9 degrees with winds out of the northwest around 8 miles an hour. Warming up to 25 by noon, and a high topping out around 27 tomorrow afternoon. So still very chilly. And as we head through the evening hours, dropping back to 21 with a wind chill around 16. Now as we head through the rest of your 7-day forecast, it does warm up a little bit by Wednesday up to 34 degrees, 42 on Thursday, with a slight chance for sprinkles as a weak little system moves through. 45 on Friday, and then that storm system moves in here Saturday into Sunday, and look at that. Temperatures fall from 40 on Saturday down to 26 on Sunday, with a chance for snow, possibly accumulating snow. We'll keep you updated on that. And look at next Monday. A high temperature of 23 degrees with a low around 10.
Wow.
So it's getting very chilly.
Yeah, I better break out some movies this weekend. I'm not going anywhere. We'll be right back with a look at sports.
Actually,
We've
got a little preview of tonight's episode of Mondays in Midtown. Mark J. Zinn is sharing the studio with us right now. And Mark, what do we have to look forward to tonight?
Well, David, we're coming to you from the new angle here at SLU-TV, the window on SLU. It's good to see everyone out here. Nobody's walked by yet, but Commuter Lounge, people at the Commuter Lounge will be coming by shortly. But we're going to have a lot of fun stuff on tonight's episode. We're going to give you details about the Jim Keedy speech as we sat down with Jim Keedy. It was great. And then, of course, we will look at the Science Center and a lot of other things, and we'll do more stuff with the window in a little bit. Let's go back over to the. We'll come back here later.
All right, thank you, Mark. And
now we'll be right back with a look at sports. Don't go away.
outside the window on SLU with Sarah. Hi, Sarah. How you doing?
Hi, good.
What year are you, Sarah?
I'm a freshman.
She is a freshman. Now, what do you want for Christmas?
Ooh, that's a good question. I really want a puppy.
She wants any kind of particular puppy, maybe a beagle?
A Shih Tzu.
A Shih Tzu. With that, we'll send it back to you guys in the studio with the Shih Tzu.
And welcome back here into the desk. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this week's sports. So let's go ahead and start it off with women's basketball. Bradley used a torrid shooting performance to defeat the St. Louis University Billikens 81-64 Saturday afternoon at Renaissance Coliseum. The Braves, who are now 5-3, connected on a 61.7% shooting, which was 29 for 47 from the field, a season high and the third highest shooting percentage in school history. The effort included an 8 of 15 performance from three-point range. Bradley also hit 15 of 20 from the free throw line. Meanwhile, the Billikens, 4-5, were held to a 32.4%, which was 23 of 71 from the floor, including 26.1% from beyond the arc. The Billikens return to action Sunday, December 12th, against interstate rival Missouri State. Tip time is at the Chaffetz Arena at 2 p.m. Moving on to track and field news, St. Louis freshman Margot Richardson has been named the Atlantic 10 Conference's Women's Indoor Track and Field Rookie of the Week, as announced today by the league office. The Billikens return to action for track and field December 10th, sending event-specific student athletes to a meet at Kansas State. The next full team meet is January 7th, 2011, at the University of Missouri. Finally, the men's basketball team returns to action this coming Saturday, December 11th, when they take on their toughest opponent of the year, the Duke Blue Devils. Action begins at 11 a.m., and that game will be broadcast nationally, so the entire SLU student body and the rest of the country will be able to watch the Billikens here take on the Duke Blue Devils.
Nice. We'll be looking forward to all those sporting events. Thanks, Willie. Now on to some strange news. William Tunstall Pideaux is claiming that April 11, 1954 was the most boring day in all of the 20th century. The computer scientists developed a search engine called True Knowledge to analyze more than 300 million facts. What came up with was that absolutely nothing of any importance happened on the 11th of April 1954. Tunstall Pideaux has said that on most days, lots of famous people are born, famous people die, there are events happening. This particular day was extremely notable for having almost nothing happen. That's interesting.
How about that?
I think today was a little bit more exciting than that day.
Sounds like it.
I mean, there's all
Sounds like
kinds
just
of
about
stuff.
anything could
That's
be a little
somebody's
bit more
birthday.
exciting.
That's important.
Yeah. It's exciting in the weather department as well. As we look through the next 7 days in our forecast, we're looking at very frigid temperatures for Tuesday. A little bit warmer by the end of the week, and then we're watching a potentially significant winter storm as we head towards the weekend. And we'll be watching for some possible snow accumulations on Saturday or Sunday, but right now it's just a little bit too early to tell what's going on there. But I can tell you it will be getting cold again by the time we get to next week. So a little brief warm period here, and then some much colder weather for next week as well. And what is Mark doing here at the desk again?
I just traveled over from our newest place, the Window on SLU, just to say we wanted to congratulate, if we could, I believe Matt. Matt, is he back there? Is he on? There he is. There's Matt. There he is. Matt had a Let Us Introduce You segment in the University News this week, and we congratulate him for that well-written article, too. Great job, Matt. He's asking. Let's go back to Matt. Can we go back to that Matt shot? There he is.
Hey, Matt.
We also wanted to do something else. Now, folks, this was truly a Festivus miracle today. I think you all agree, because these three people you're sitting next to are winners in Mark's St. Nick's Day dollar scratch-off giveaway. Bought $8 scratch-offs. These three won. They had the newscast today. But we have special news David was the big winner in a $1 scratch off, $40.
Yeah.
And luckily, I have connections at the Missouri Lottery Commission. We got this sent over now. Can we get a close up on this? Can we get a close up on this? That's right. The Missouri. That is a $40 check. $40 scratch off ticket for $1. That is quite an accomplishment, David.
Oh.
And here I thought my $10 was something. That's nothing.
I don't know what I'm going to use this for yet.
I think I'm going to use mine for
Is this
some
the first
gas
check
money.
they've ever written?
Apparently, and also the other thing is, important. I think that you should all donate to the kids.
Oh,
I think that's important.
Of course.
I love kids, as long as they're not mine.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark. We'll be watching for Mondays in Midtown.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's tonight too. So make sure you watch.
Okay. And of course, thank you for watching. This is our last regular broadcast this semester. Is tomorrow's study day and final start on Wednesday, which means school's just about out for 2010. And
Yeah.
we'll be back in January. But thanks for watching us, and of course, you can always follow us online on our SLU-TV.slu.edu, Facebook, and Twitter.
There you go.
Tune in later tonight again for Mondays in Midtown with Mark J. Zinn. Thanks for watching, everyone. Good luck studying.